Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Hawaiiverse Spotlight featuring
Chanel B and my co-host
Kamaka Diaz, and we are ready to compost with our special guest.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm the Compost King of Hilo.
I like that. And he is the owner of Compost Hawaii, and today we're going to show you everything that this man does to make composting not only convenient but happen here in Hilo. Okay?
And also, I have no idea how to do any of these things, so I'm excited for you to teach me how to do this.
Sure.
We're gonna learn.
So tell us a little bit about your business, Compost Hawaii.
Well, Compost Hawaii is mostly, it's a service primarily intended for people who don't have the capacity to compost at home. So I give them the option to come take the waste for them and take care of all the work. A lot of people who live in apartments, or if they're like living with their other family members or on a small property where there's nowhere that they can do it themselves, I can come in and take care of it for them. If they want, they can request some of the finished compost and I'll take care of the whole thing and provide that back to them at the end. A lot of times when they have space, they don't know where to begin to make their own compost piles. So I'm starting to offer some other services like consultations or help setting up their own compost piles at home.
It's the Compost King. Just call him.
Leads by example. He doesn't send other people to do his work, he does the work.
Composting, there's not just one pathway to get to the results. There's a bunch of different ways that you can approach it. So I'm going to show you guys how to make Bokashi, which is used as like a pre-digester for composting. This is just shredded paper and cardboard boxes. So to make the Bokashi, we're going to use this EM. This is effective microorganisms. These are mostly lactobacillus, the same types of bacteria that make yogurt and cheese and stuff. But we're gonna add a little bit to this water, just about a tablespoon. And then I'm gonna add some molasses, which is gonna feed the bacteria and help kind of kickstart it so that they start to reproduce and their populations increase. And we're gonna use that to inoculate this big batch of shredded paper. So basically what we're doing is getting the bacteria to reproduce and coat the shredded paper so that we can use this as kind of an amplifier. And then we'll use that in the compost to help pre-digest it so that the whole composting process is more efficient. And we're just gonna pour this on here. We'll just mix it up.
Right in there.
And the bacteria need a couple of weeks to do their thing. This will sit in a sealed bucket for a couple of weeks while it ferments for a while. And then once it's done fermenting, we'll dry it out, and then you can use the flakes to sprinkle on top of the compost. And then that will make the whole composting process more quick and easy and kind of mitigate some of the smell.
Compost hack.
Yep. Compost hack 101 with the Compost King.
Since this takes a little bit of time to get going, some of the other techniques that people use is vermicomposting, which is basically just feeding your food scraps to worms. That takes just a little bit of setup, but it's really easy and straightforward. I've got a worm bin over here. They've already eaten most of the food. They're due for another feeding. People think that any worm will do, but that's not really the case. There's a lot of different types of species of worms. These red wrigglers are the best for composting.
Where'd you get your worms?
I caught them in the backyard.
How many worms do you think you have in here?
That's a good question. Probably upwards of like 2,000 to 3,000. I started with just a small handful, but they reproduce pretty quickly. As long as you keep them fed, you can neglect them pretty severely. This is why worm composting is a good option for a lot of people. It requires very little maintenance.
It doesn't smell bad though. I can smell the papaya.
I can smell papaya.
It smells a little bit earthy, a little bit...
It smells like a little like peel, but that might be me. And then what's the next step after that?
Well, once the worms have eaten everything, which is like that the worm poop that we were holding, you can just apply that directly to the plants that you want to grow. You can make it into a tea to kind of disperse it more evenly in your garden, kind of stretch it out a little bit. But the best way is just to sprinkle a little bit in your plants, cover it up with some mulch, and let it go. So this whole hillside, like when I started clearing out, was like tons of rubbish and just junk in the woods, and so I'm still to this day finding some little treasures when I start digging in.
Oh, somebody's old blanket?
Yeah, see, this is made of like polyester or something. It's not compostable.
I was just about to ask.
At the bottom, you can see some of the stuff is like really nice, rich, very dark, really good looking soil. So this is what everybody on the island is like dreaming of. This is like the cream of the crop. This is the best kind of stuff that you want to have in your yard.
What's so good about it?
Well, the dark color comes from all the tannins and stuff, which is basically just the decomposed bodies of the plants. All the nutrients and everything is broken down. The tannins help to like hold on to nutrients, so it's kind of like they're like little magnets in the soil that give the soil the ability to like grab nutrients and hold on to it, and then like slowly release it to the plants over time. Whereas like if you go up Hamakua and you see like kind of that red clay soil, that is like completely depleted of all this dark organic matter, which the structure, it's kind of like a blank canvas. You don't have a lot to work with. So you have to put all of this kind of stuff in there to make it really good for growing. This is basically just concentrated decomposed nutrients.
Your plants love that.
Yeah, after all that work, it's transformed into this beautiful soil. And this, I don't know, I think it really captures the magic of the whole process. It's a transformative process from junk into this beautiful soil.
Just want to say mahalo for showing us around this awesome garden. I mean, it's a beautiful hidden sanctuary of abundance, and I think that's super cool. And how you do so much in such a little space, that's amazing.
Where can we find you? If there are people looking to compost, wanting to reduce their waste, need to know more, anything involving compost, where can we find you?
The best way to get in touch is through the website. It's www.composthi.com. You can find lists of compostable materials. You can find the different subscription levels, frequently asked questions.
If he made all of this work, then there's no excuse. All you need is a bucket. We just showed you how.
You don't have to do the whole thing all by yourself. All you have to do is have an interest, and I'm there to help you figure out all the rest.
Awesome. I'm getting signed up. I'm legitly signing up after this.
And if you mention Hawaiiverse,
you get 1 month free.
Yeah.
that's a huge deal.
That is
everybody should get on that. All right, so that's another episode of Hawaiiverse Spotlight featuring Michael from Compost Hawaii, the Compost King. It's crazy. If you want more episodes just like this, more content, anything about our island universe, go check us out, Hawaiiverse.com. I'm your host, Kamaka Diaz, with my co-host,
Chanel B.
and we'll see you next time. Ahui ho.